Okay, so before I begin going into the dream inside a dream inside a dream, um, some numbers that mean a lot to me are the numbers 3, 4, and 17. 4 is my birth number, 3 should have been my birth number, and 17 was the age that I began to wake up. Um, I was supposed to be born at like 11:57 or 11:58, but the doctors made my mom wait 3 minutes, which changed my birth number to 4 instead of 3. Um, then the number 17 was the age that I began to start waking up, which also in numerology is like, signifies wisdom. The number 17 does. That's another reason why I like it, is because what it symbolizes. Um, and this is actually the first dream that I had in a series of dreams, um, that would, um, give me a lot more information than what I could ever imagine. Um, so here's the first one. I was in my room and I immediately woke up and I had to go to the bathroom. Um, and so I opened the door, and as soon as I got into the hallway, I noticed something weird automatically, like something was strange, something was off. And there were 3 television screens on the wall, and my stepsister and her friend were watching the televisions in the hall, and they were flat screen TVs too. And um, that was back in what, 1990? No, maybe that was, yeah, that was 17. Yeah, no, it was 2000. It was the year 2000, and I thought that that was pretty strange that they were just like sitting in there and watching the television like that. Um, so nobody acted like they saw me. I felt like a ghost. I immediately began to feel disconnected. And as soon as I walked past them to go to the bathroom, I opened the door and I noticed that it's off its hinges. And I thought that was weird. And I tried to make the door shut, but it wouldn't. And I wasn't gonna like pee in front of my sister and her friend. So I decided that I would go to my dad and stepmother's bedroom, use their bathroom, and then go back to bed. And then, as soon as I got in there, the walls were plastic, see-through plastic, which was another thing that was odd. Then, was about to, walk in and go to the bathroom, and then I see my sister, which was strange because she was living with my mother at the time. But I didn't see her at her present age. I saw her as like, when she was a kid, like maybe 5 or 6. And then and she was riding a tricycle, and I just thought the whole situation was strange. And then I saw my dad and stepmother begin to act like they were fixing to have sex. So I was like, you know what? I'm going back to my room and I'm just gonna go to bed, and I'll go to the bathroom later. So I go to my bedroom and I go back to bed. And when I was walking back, there's my stepsister and her friend weren't in the hallway watching TV or anything like that. It was just a straight walk there. At that time, in the dream, when I was walking back, I didn't think much of it because I was just like, I'm gonna go back to sleep and then go to the bathroom. But so I mean, the number 3 appears in there. Definitely people watching, but it seems like nobody's paying attention to any of the details. And I felt disconnected, basically, from everyone, was kind of the initial feelings of that. And then, some kind of beginning of integration of some sort. Because of there is about to be sex in the dream, and sex means integration, like thoughts are processing. But then I fell asleep in the dream, but then I woke up, and when I woke up, I thought, man, was I dreaming? And I woke up, and there's my brother and my father yelling at me, and they're screaming at the top of their lungs. Like, I'm scared. Like, I thought somebody died. Or I thought, what's wrong? What's wrong? I was completely in shock, and then, as soon as I couldn't hear them and realized it, I was like, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. And I could hear myself, but I couldn't hear them. And then they started pointing at my radio, and there was a present on top of my stereo that I had in my bedroom. And I looked at them, and they kept yelling. And I'm like, and I still have to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, what? I don't understand. I don't understand. And they like waved their hands bye-bye, and they closed the door. And I'm like, this is so weird. This is so strange. And I chose not to open the present. And I went back to bed because I felt like this was just extremely weird. And I didn't think much of it, in the dream, that is. And but there's more disconnection. I'm disconnected probably from what my dream was showing. Like, everybody's seeing something else while I'm seeing something completely different. And then, and even with the senses, because it also gets with the senses, especially with the hearing and the seeing, and how I'm perceiving things to compared to maybe like the zombie state that they're kind of like making, like other people would be making their way through life or something. And then I'm like, oh man, I woke up, and this really freaked me out because I was inside a dream, and then I woke up at my grandparents' house. So I went from Texas to Missouri, and I'm like, this is really, really weird. This is really strange. I don't remember driving here. I don't know how I got here. And then I start walking around my grandparents' house, and nobody's there, and the lights are off, and which makes me feel more freaked out. And I'm like, this is really, really freaking strange. And then, like, all of a sudden, these strangers come in the door. And I think I'm fixing to have to fight, because I know they're not here for any good reason. But I'm like, who are you? This is my grandparents' house. And they look at me and they go, no, Who are you? This is our house. And the good thing was is that they weren't enemies, or there was nothing threatening about them or by them. They were peaceful. Um, and so I immediately calmed down on the situation, and I'm like, look, I don't know how I got here. I don't know how I got to Missouri, but I need to get back home. And they're like, okay. And I go, but first, you know, my grandparents lived here. I know the place. I know there's a bathroom downstairs and one up here. I'm gonna go use the bathroom downstairs, and because I really gotta go to the bathroom. And they're like, yeah, that's okay. Go right on ahead. And I walk downstairs, and I go to use the bathroom, and there's a little window in there, and I'm looking out it. Because another thing that I just thought was weird was there was my brother's dog Dave and my dog Buddy there. And Dave was in Missouri, which was kind of the location we were at, but Buddy was in Texas. And I began to think, man, this is really, really weird. You know, why do they own this house and have our dogs? And then, as I'm going to the bathroom, I see two guys start shooting at them. And I'm like, no, we ain't gonna have any of that. And I immediately exit out the bath. I immediately finish and exit out the bathroom. And I start digging through the cabinets looking for a gun. And as soon as I find one, I grab it. And I open the screen door. And up in a tree, right there, was a blue python. And the blue python slithers on down, comes up and looks me directly in the eyes, and I wake up. And I had to go to the bathroom, and I did, just so everybody knows. But that dream was very, very strange. And that last part, one of the things that I have noticed is that the place where I'm living at now actually feels like my grandparents' place in a way. It's out in the country. The trees kind of look the same in the yard. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And nice people do own this place. And then, but the one thing at the end of the dream is the snake. And Carl Jung suggests that the snake is a symbol of individuation. And that was the time that I started that process towards my long journey through hell that led me here today. Writing poetry in my past, writing a novel about the things I've learned, sharing the wisdom I've obtained, and hoping that people actually wake up to know the power that they have inside, and what they can do and what they can create. But that journey's for another time. Right now we're just on the dreams. So, I've been rambling on for quite some time, so I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a good one. Peace. Bye.